Hey there, folks. Chuck here. A quick note before we get started. Next week, October 13th at 5:30 p.m., 2:30 p.m. Pacific, we will be having a live Q&A session with cartooned mastermind and overall diecast legend, Louis Tanahara. He's going to be with us live answering your questions. So make sure you tune in, ask your questions. If you can't make it, keep an eye out. We'll be making some shorts and some posts throughout the week asking for your questions. So keep an eye out for those and leave those in the comments, and we'll ask them during the live show. We're also going to be joined by Nigel from Castheads Magazine. He's going to be a guest co-host because he's got a lot of questions for Louis as well. And we really are looking forward to sitting down with these two fine gents and talking tiny cars with them. We hope you'll join us. And as always, thanks for being here. On with the show.
You're watching Diecast Breakdown with Chuck Ellis, David Johns, and Mark McHotwheel. So sit back, strap in, and hang on. The breakdown starts now.
Hey there, folks. Chuck here, and welcome to Diecast Breakdown. I am so thrilled you're with us today. I am especially thrilled for our executive producer level patrons and all the patrons that make the show go. Special shout out to those executive producers. They are First and 64th Customs, Dane Self, DrivenDreams.org, Jason, Mad Visions, Mike's Mods and Customs, Reviews Through Another Lens, TWYCE Diecast, thanks David, and A Partridge in a Pear Tree. I mean Video Geek Productions. If you want to know how to join the ranks, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com or click the little join button down below. You do not get anything right now for joining because life is hard for me and I'm trying to get it together. I'm trying so hard, but it's coming. And we're going to have some benefits for you guys soon. Right now, you have our undying gratitude, and you make David and me smile every time you do that. And speaking of making David smile, I am here to make David smile with this show. David Johns of TWYCE Diecast, how the heck are you today?
I'm doing good. And viewers, it sounds like Chuck's in rare form. Might want to buckle up on this one.
Well, see, I got to up my game because we got another pro on today. I'm really... It's funny because I saw these guys doing their show, and the first thing I thought was, oh, wow, we've got the Rhett and Link of Diecast here. They're doing some really, really clever stuff, and I was really thrilled that our guest has agreed to come on the show. Before we introduce him, though, I do want to remind folks that Driven Dreams Diecast Day of Giving is coming up very soon. That's October 12th, I believe.
Yep.
12th, and we are trying to raise 24,000 cars around the world for kids in need. No purchase necessary, void where prohibited. Visit drivendreams.org to find out how you can help by donating cars or money to kids in your area. Well, you donate the money to Driven Dreams. You can donate the cars to kids in your area. That's all you got to do. It's that simple. So it's definitely worth checking out. Really cool project done by our co-host Mark, who is joining us in spirit, if not in body tonight. But joining us in body, I am thrilled to say, is the Calm and Collected YouTube channel. Jereme, thank you so much for being on the show. We're so thrilled to have you today on Diecast Breakdown.
Thank you. I'm glad to be doing this. I've seen several of your podcasts so far, and I like what you're doing. I'm glad to be here and support it in a little way.
Awesome. Absolutely. Well, we're thrilled to have you on. We really liked what we saw. And it was funny because I found you guys because I was doing a project for Cartooned, and was looking around, and it had been a hot minute since I'd scoped out some new diecast creators, and somehow you guys slipped through my radar the first time I went around and subscribed to a bunch of channels. For those people like me who kind of missed you the first time around, for those who don't know, tell us what Calm and Collected is.
Well, we actually have 3 channels now, but our primary channel became diecast specific a couple years ago, and that's when we added the fast lane at the end of the channel name. Basically because our diecast videos were taken off. And when we would post videos about other things we were into, like action figures, they wouldn't get a lot of views because those videos were being shown only to people who were into diecast. So ultimately, we opened up a second channel, and that became a home for action figure videos, and now a third channel for Lego videos. And I'm so far, I've reeled myself in, but it's very, very difficult to stop myself because I love so many things.
Sure.
But that's how it started.
Well, I understand. I have other interests outside of diecast, but I only have so many hours in my day. So I've decided this is the area that makes me happy. These are the people that I really like interacting with the most. So I've selected my focus, mostly on one. I don't know how you do it with the multiple channels. That's incredible. But before we get into that, let's go back a little bit and let's talk about how you got into the diecast collecting hobby and what possessed you to make a YouTube channel about it.
Well, just I guess briefly talk about myself and collecting. I had a vinyl case of Matchbox and Hot Wheels as a kid growing up in the late 80s and early 90s. And I didn't have tons of toys. My parents were very, I guess, smart and frugal in that they tried to always get me like educational toys. And I ended up being so interested in drawing that I went to fine art school.
Oh, wow.
So because I didn't have tons of toys as a child, I became an obsessive collector. Diecast was one of the more affordable toys. So I did have some of those. And I really dove back into it in a serious collector way in 2018 when Matchbox was making Jurassic Park cars for the new Jurassic World movie. I got so interested in that and wanted to collect them all. And through that process, so much research. And at that point, it was very difficult to collect them because I was a year or two behind. Some of them weren't available in the US anyway. But it was such a journey to collect those that I think because we happened to be making videos anyway, I was compelled to create videos about that topic and share them. Partially inspired by Jurassic Bap. If you haven't met him yet, he's definitely someone you could put on your list to interview. So Jurassic Vehicles is his specialty, and like the movie Alien, the Alien movies, so toys for those. But anyway, the process of collecting those and me wanting to make videos about those is what kind of started me creating diecast related videos, and largely me getting serious about the collecting diecast rather than everything else I'm interested in, figures and all that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So Jereme, when a viewer, one of the billion viewers that will be watching this episode, when they go to Common Collected, what should they expect to see on their site from a diecast perspective? And guys, if you're watching this show, Common Collected Fast Lane, that's the diecast specific branch of the family tree, I guess. So what is waiting for people when they go to check out that site?
The videos that they'll most likely see, because they're the most successful and they'd be recommended, are probably Hot Wheels RC related. But we've tried a bunch of different things through the years. Obviously, my interest isn't just specifically related to RC. Hot Wheels has been doing a great job making a bunch of them in the last few years. In fact, they kept it going when even I thought like maybe they would only do a handful and then that would be it. But they've kept it going. Every few months, there's another one. But we're also making videos about Matchbox and specifically Jurassic Matchbox, but it's really just whatever we are collecting ourselves. Like right now, my friend and partner Steve's a huge Transformer collector, so he's been super into getting the new Optimus Prime.
Yeah,
that came out, and I actually have right here the Bumblebee.
Yeah,
nice.
So, which I resisted buying any on eBay, and I was hunting. And finally, last week I saw 2 at Dollar Tree. So
Nice.
I was very happy to have finally got them in for only $1.25 actually.
Yeah.
But there's always something interesting that is coming out and inspires us to make a video about it. We're not too tethered to like a specific format. In fact, like there's a wide variety of formats depending on what the item is. So sometimes I have a box of cars and I'm going through it and just seeing what's there because I bought a box or who knows. Other times I have a product I'm reviewing, a track set, which if you can see it,
heck yeah.
Hot Wheels, which you guys might not know this exists. Hot Wheels made a new RC track set.
I did not know that there was a RC specific track set.
Yeah.
I remember watching one of your videos and you saying, I don't know how that would go down the track. And I was like, people put RC cars down the track? I guess they could. They're about the right size, but yeah, there is an RC specific track. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty new. It's Amazon exclusive, so I think that's why most people don't know about it.
Cool.
And I just got it in. I haven't made the video yet, so it's a little, hopefully, a preview of what's to come. But also, it'll hold me accountable. I have to make the video.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
But depending on what the topic is, though, it really shapes the format of the video. So what I do for a review or a track product would be totally different than if we're hunting. We do peg hunting too. Hopefully, there's a thread of me and Steve as well that like connects the videos together.
As people who also do a co-hosted show. Where did your friendship with Steve come from? How did that come about?
Well, it's a helpful way to understand who we are because Steve and I met in college and we live in different cities. So making videos together through Common Collected is a huge thing that's kept us connected and gave us an opportunity to work together, even though we don't live in the same city. And a lot of that, too, is because of the shift that happened during COVID with the use of Zoom and remote calls and things like that being so much more common. I never would have thought that we could have been able to make videos like that before COVID. So we do get together a couple times a year and we make videos together when we can. But a lot of the times we're making them separately. We will use some method of video chat or even FaceTime or whatever we need to do to collaborate. And we'll make, because the companionship is so much a part of what we want to do or what I want to do. Like going through a box of cars wouldn't be fun alone. So I have to get Steve to do it with me, even if he's in another city.
We need to do more of that on Diecast.
We do. We need to collaborate more. Well, we collaborate every week on a show, but yeah, we did a thing recently where David and I painted cars for the Car Wars people, and that was a lot of fun.
We'll be back with more Diecast Breakdown after this word from our sponsors. Legendary Hollywood concept artist and designer Fireball Tim Lawrence has created 3 exclusive pieces of automotive art based on the 3 hosts of Diecast Breakdown. Get these and other brilliant designs printed on mugs and more at fireballtimgarage.art today. Here's this week's small channel shoutout.
Monkey Shine Lab.
If you have a favorite Diecast channel with less than 700 subscribers and you'd like to see them highlighted on a future episode, email us at diecastbreakdown@gmail.com.
Cast Heads Magazine is a digital publication dedicated to enhancing the lives of collectors all across the world by providing information on new models, reviews on brands and diecast accessories like figures and dioramas, throwing light on customizers, photographers and people who contribute to making the diecast world vibrant. Subscribe to Cast Heads for free and look for collaborations with Diecast Media Network at castheadsmagazine.com.
And now back to Diecast Breakdown.
I really like the variety of the stuff that you guys did. You did a really cool video that came out just a few days ago as of us recording that was ranking the Hero City era Matchbox cars, which anyone who knows Matchbox considers the action series kind of the nadir of the Matchbox era. Maybe not quite as bad as when they were doing all the animal cars and stuff, but it was pretty close. So where did you get the idea that Hero City was worth a video and worth even defending?
Well, you know what? I had no idea that I was going to have a positive stance on it when I went into it. Someone was selling the box of cars, and I'm always thinking about video ideas. Like, so much of my collection and what I buy is through the lens of like, will this make a fun video? And so when I bought that box of cars, I knew it would be in that list of things that could make a potential fun video to go through it. And like so many other video ideas I have, it sits and it doesn't happen for a while. And so I've actually bought that box maybe 6 months, or I don't even know how long before we finally made the video. But I am, I'm really good at procrastinating or what's the word? Postponing gratification, right?
Yeah.
Good at, so I'm either a procrastinator or I'm really good at postponing gratification because those cars sat in a box and I didn't really go through them for months and months until I could do it in a video. But really because I thought it would be fun to do it, just see what's in there. And ranking them was just like the format that I came up with to help make a more entertaining video.
Yeah, and it might be collectors might be sleeping a little bit on the Hero era. If they happen across some, they might be worth at least a look through.
I think in the video I might have said I probably was only going to keep about a third of them. I did separate them after the video and decide what I was keeping. I definitely kept more than a third.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you never know when you're going to find a little bit of gold for your collection. It's just keeping your eyes open. And I know what you mean about delayed gratification. I've got 2 mystery boxes sitting on my shelf over there that are just begging me to open because I have a local vintage toy shop. And what they'll do is they'll put together these mystery boxes and you can buy like 40 diecast for $20 on card. And so most of the time it's a bunch of fantasies and a bunch of goofy things, or they'll have one that's all first editions, or they'll have one that's all blue cards, or they'll have, I did one recently that I haven't posted the video yet, but it was all treasure hunts. And it was treasure hunts for $1 a piece. And yeah, they were mostly all of the fantasy treasure hunts, but there was one real rider one in there. So yeah, I like the getting a box of random stuff and going through. I'm trying to be better. David is my little voice of conscience on my shoulder that's like, remember, quality over quantity. He will speak to me getting rid of thousands of cars at the Hot Wheels Collector National. So I was just like, I've got too many. And what am I doing with these things? Ended up paying for the show almost entirely through selling off my collection. Of course, I won't think too hard about how much I paid to get those there.
I bet you got 5 more miles per gallon.
Oh, I'm sure.
In the Valiant.
Yeah.
Without that
driving a 64 Valiant from Gainesville to Atlanta with a trunk load of probably 300, 400 pounds worth of stuff to sell. Yeah. I don't know. It definitely rode a little lighter in the back for sure. So, Jereme, what are we missing with Hot Wheels RC? Because that is really kind of a blind spot for me. I'm very curious about, as a customizer, do you think it's something that you could actually like do body swaps with regular Hot Wheels, or do you think the regular die cast bodies would be too heavy for it?
I'm not sure it would. I'm not sure that they're very good for that, because I haven't tried, so I'll throw that out there. But I have unscrewed the bottom of one far enough to find out that like one of the axles like falls out. They just didn't seem like, the body is one piece, it's plastic and you can lift it off, but then like one of the axles falls out or something. There's just something weird about it that made me think like, oh, this won't work. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't tried it, so customizing isn't really my forte. Certainly give it a shot. Forgive me, I can't think of exactly what it was, but there was something about it when I started to take one apart one day that made me think like, oh no, never mind. I think it's New Bright. They have a 1/64 scale RC monster truck that I also have on the shelf as a video I need to make soon. And that one seems like it would be a better candidate for body swaps, especially other
bodies.
Monster Jam is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Other Monster Jam 1/64 scale. So that, without trying it, that might work better, but definitely I would give it a shot. I haven't tried it.
Jeremy, you made, or maybe it was Chuck, one of us made reference to kind of a crossover, like the RC community and the diecast community. And Common Collected caught lightning in a bottle with that very crossover when y'all, or you, gave us the Tesla RC review video. Talk about, we do have some creators that also watch this show. Talk about watching a video hit that 500,000, 1 million, 2 million, nearly 3 million view mark, and just how neat that is. I'm just curious, a little bit of a selfish question, but I want to hear your perspective on just finding that a little bit of algorithm love every now and then from YouTube. So what was that like watching that?
Well, our channel was so new at the time. When that video kind of first shot off and went viral, we only had about 25 videos. And I remember the first few hundred subscribers being so slow to come. And I definitely, like most small YouTubers, felt like when your video only has a couple hundred views, when your channel only has a couple hundred subscribers, I thought there was like a bias from the viewer to not click, because they saw so few views, they saw so few subscribers that they didn't want to give the video a shot. So I had no expectation that a video would do that well. I think at the time, maybe my other best video might have had 25,000 views. So definitely it was exciting, but unexpected, because to that point we were kind of steadily growing very slowly. And I had in my head that pace would continue on. And I was thinking, oh, okay, well, we're at 300 subscribers. In a couple years, maybe we'll be at 1,000. Well, one video that's successful, you could get to 1,000 subscribers in a weekend and blow right by that. So it was exciting, but I also felt like a lack of control, like, because I didn't necessarily feel like it was something that I did. In retrospect, I can feel more pride in it because of the effort that took for that to happen. And because though it wasn't very quick and easy, I have made other videos since then that have also been successful.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a second video reach 1 million views in the next couple days, but having possibly 2 reach 1 million, and then I have several other ones that are in the hundreds of thousands that are just under 1 million. So I don't feel as much, I used the word before, like a one-hit wonder.
Right.
So I don't feel as much like I didn't earn it and it was just a fluky thing. Now that I have several videos that are all
It's validating.
in the hundreds of thousands.
Congratulations on behalf of the Diecast Media Network.
Thank you.
Someday, maybe. But I will say that it's an interesting combination because, again, most people don't think of RC when they think of Hot Wheels. And can you talk a bit about how that has evolved as a product line and why it captured your attention?
Well, I first discovered they existed when they were just on the shelf at Target. Like, I'm a serial Target shopper, and I like to browse the toys a couple times a week, whether I'm looking for Hot Wheels or figures or whatever. So I had no idea this was coming out. I just saw them on the shelf, and I remember I didn't even buy one right away. I had no idea that I had to quickly turn this out into a video and it would do well or anything. I just went home and I told my wife to buy me one for Christmas because I think it was November. And I thought this would be a little weird if I bought myself this because it's not even a diecast that we can collect as adults. Right. It's a toy.
Right.
So I told her to get me one for Christmas and she did. And of course, I don't think that one was the Cybertruck. That was the Roger Dodger or the Nissan GTR R34. Something like that. So she did that. And then maybe in January, I think I made the first video. So yeah, I mean, it really just caught my eye as a kid who didn't really have lots of track, but wished I did. Maybe all the commercials had gotten into my brain in the 80s and 90s. I imagine what the RC could do when you don't need a booster or a kicker. You don't need a downhill drop-in. Like, what could you do with a track set when you just put a car on it and it's self-propelled? And for me, it's not, I've explored it in the videos, but for me, it's not about steering it or having a hard floor and controlling it so much like an RC. It's more about having it as a Hot Wheels car on the track that's just self-propelled. So you don't need to have a booster or kicker loop or something every few feet to keep propelling the car forward. It just does that on its own. So the reins are off. You can design anything you want. If you've seen my Batman RC video, it's the best one to demonstrate how difficult it can be. We built a layout so big that it took us almost an hour to get one time through the run successfully because it keeps failing. And then you pick it up off the floor, put it back on the track and start over again. When you just dump out all your pieces that you have minus, like, the kicker loops and boosters and whatever, and just see what you can build. And then it's like a video game, the challenge to get the car to actually successfully go through it,
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I was thinking, like, the cool thing about this, because there were like the Sizzlers too, like that were self-propelled, but those were, you didn't really have any control over them. Once it was running, it would just go until it stopped. It would go until it ran out of power. You didn't have any control of when it stopped. But what's cool with these is because of the nature of it, you could actually have tracks where there is a gap or a free space where you'd have some control. So you could have like something that you could go through cones and then go back onto another track and zip through it again. I think that's a really clever thing. I didn't even realize that these things, when I see them in the store, I clocked them and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I thought they would be really slow. I figured they would just be some crummy little, like, because I had like the Zip Zaps from Radio Shack back in the day, which were kind of a precursor of this. They were a little bigger than 1/64 scale, a little cartoonish, but they were fun, but they were definitely not anything that would do a loop. And these things do a loop. They're pretty zippy. And I was just thinking for a second how funny it would be if you did run one through a booster and all of a sudden it just took off.
Well, yeah, I think they go about 10 miles an hour. I did a video that was a speed test. But yeah, you wouldn't want to put it through a booster.
Yeah.
In fact, in the Batman video at the very end, just for the fun of it, I did drop it down the steps into our layout in the living room. And I knew it was a risk because you don't want to you don't want to like force the wheels to spin faster than the motor is spinning them.
Don't touch that dial. Diecast Breakdown will be right back after these messages. Diecast Breakdown is produced in partnership with TWYCE Diecast and Driven Dreams Org on YouTube. Check out their channels in the video description and subscribe for more epic diecast content.
Hey, this is Larry Wood.
This is Derek from Honest Diecast.
Hey, this is Chad Reed from Round 2.
This is Mike from Gaslands.
The SRT Jovita Show.
This is Champion DJ K.
This is Mad Vision here. This is Diecast Dude.
And you're watching Diecast Breakdown.
And now, the thrilling conclusion of this week's episode of Diecast Breakdown.
Jereme, can we talk about, I want to give a little bit of love to the other channels too, because undoubtedly there are many people watching who are diecast collectors, but also just like all of us grew up loving other toys and probably still collect other stuff as well. Talk about the other two channels that you have now and what you concentrate on in terms of content for those.
So our action figure channel is called Common Collected Go Figure. So as I mentioned, we only created that second channel because the action figure videos needed a place for their own. So it wasn't so much of an idea that we even wanted a channel specifically for that, but just that those videos, when we shared them on the Diecast channel, they weren't finding the viewers because only Diecast viewers were seeing the thumbnails. So creating its own channel did give those videos an opportunity to be seen. So we mostly make videos just about the lines that we're the most interested in. We've made a couple videos about Batman the Animated Series figures. We have a couple planned about Star Wars figures as well. So, and actually recently I even created some videos that were about record collecting. And it's like, you know what, I'm inspired. I want to make a video about record collecting. I have a friend who really needs featured in his amazing collection, and I'm going to put it on there. Just because we want to be able to make the videos that we want to and support the people that we want to. Sometimes you just got to like make the video you want to make, and if it finds an audience, great. But don't let YouTube tell you not to make something.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point. There's a gentleman that's been on the show before, Paul Eudopoulos, and he has his channel, Fat Guy Productions. He does a lot of customs and red line restorations and stuff. And it's a cool channel, but he's a very crafty and handy guy. And he had this thing happen where he went kind of viral with a video about making rings out of old coins, and completely unrelated to his channel. And it has, all of a sudden he got like 2 million views on this video, and he got like 18,000 subscribers. And then it just kind of sat. All his videos get about the same amount of views as some of our videos do. And which is not much. People like and subscribe. Please, for the love of God, like and subscribe. Anyway, Paul has got kind of this thing where he's got a really big channel, but the algorithm is a bit off. But he keeps doing it, and I love it because he is just doing what he wants to do. And he'll do product reviews when he wants to, and he'll do red line restorations most of the time. And he gets a new product in the mail, and he likes it, and he makes a video about it. And I think that's really cool. Like, there's something to be said for not taking it too seriously. Like, it's so easy to get sucked into that game, though. Like, you see the people that are doing all the tricks to get the extra views and listening to the algorithm. And I tried that for a hot minute. It just feels like work. All of a sudden, it's not fun. You're doing a job, and you're doing videos that you don't really want to do. And I mean, if that's your dream to be a content creator, you can go for it. But there are rules that you're going to have to play by. And there is fun that has to be sacrificed, because it then does become your job. And if you do what you love, then you'll never love anything a day in your life. So sometimes it's good to have things stay a hobby. I am learning, but you never know. If you can do it and you can become a full-time content creator, more power to you. I think it's a fantastic thing. Content creators that do get to that level, though, that can just do videos about whatever, and they do really, really well. But the thing that we have to remember is, like, that's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of people. I mean, just to get into the top 10% of YouTube creators, you only need 10,000 subscribers. That's the top 10%. That's how small it is to get to this. And 10,000 subscribers is not anything to quit your job over. That's right. And all of a sudden you're doing better than 90% of other content creators on YouTube. That just, you think about how many get to that million subscriber mark, or 2 million, or whatever. And I think in our hobby, there's only one or two that have passed 1 million subscribers. You got Jakarta Diecast Project, of course. I don't know has what's his name, has 3D Bot Maker passed 1 million yet? I don't know. But when you get to like 20,000 subscribers, that's huge. That's amazing. Like, you guys are really doing some awesome work, and that's absolutely something to be proud of, because you're reaching truly upper echelons of stuff. And again, YouTube is uploading 80 plus years of content every day to. So to get any views at all from the finite amount of eyes out there, that 82 plus years of new content, and that's an old number. That's pre-COVID. I can't imagine what the number is now. It's got to be over a century worth of content uploaded every day. If you could get a few hundred, few thousand views, that's incredible. You get a few million views. Wow, you're really tearing it up. So that's the thing whenever somebody talks to me about, well, would you go full time on this, or how do you go full time on YouTube? And I've gone to expos just on how to be a creator. When I was trying to do this for a hot minute, went to a whole conference out in Arizona on how to do it, and it's tough, people. It is not nearly as easy as it seems. I think it's a credit to you that you're able to come up with these videos, and not only come up with these videos, but come up with different channels and do that. So how do you schedule that? How do you fit all that in your day?
Well, essentially, I kind of have the philosophy now that I make a video, have a schedule at all. I don't try to stick to anything. At one point, I was trying to do them weekly, but life gets in the way. You have other hobbies and interests. I love watching baseball. My wife and I go to a bunch of baseball games in Pittsburgh. We love the Pirates, even though they're terrible. So I can't dedicate. And I have a day job, but I can't dedicate more than like 20 hours a week to it. So, and another thing is, my video formats vary so wildly that one video may take 4 hours to edit. Another one could take 40 or 80 hours. Like, some of the ones that maybe are the most successful took an unbelievable amount of time to make. So because of the disparity in how much time a video makes, like, I just have no conditions on like publishing by a certain time anymore. Like, I used to try to do that, but at this point, if it's a month or 2 months or whatever between videos, like, I don't care. Like, I do have a pretty high bar of quality for myself. And even the last video about the Hero City Matchbox, like, I tried so hard to be efficient, and I thought, okay, this will be quick and easy. I'm just going to pull out some and I'll edit up. No problem. It was days of editing.
Yeah.
I try to publish for a weekend. Like, I generally, if I finish a video during the week, I would hold on to it until Friday. So I think the first day, viewers are more likely to find it when they have a free time to watch a video. If they get a notification and they catch it on a weekday, they may not even be able to watch it. But other than that, I just do it whenever I want. My day job is also content creator, but for the local transit authority. So I'm creating videos 40 hours a week for them. That's my day job. So for me to also do it on the side, like, I really just let myself do it when it works,
right,
with family life and everything else. Like, I'm just gonna make the video when the topic inspires me, and when I can fit it in. It is what it is.
And Jereme, you can feel that authenticity when you watch your videos, because number one, your expertise really shines. Like, it's they're really slick, really well done. I like the variety. We see videos where we're looking at 50-year-old Matchbox haul reviews. We see reviews on the RC line. We also see a pretty cool interview with a good friend of our show, Champion DJK. Dave has a lot to offer collectors in the diecast world, and you've got him on there a couple times. So as I look at that type format, those interviews with collectors, I like that your website says, hey, if you're a collector and you have a cool collection, we want to talk to you and we want to give you a platform to show off your collection. Is that something Common Collected is still actively doing? And how would they talk to you or start a conversation on whether or not their collection is cool enough?
I would say it mostly just depends on if the individual is passionate about their collection. Then that makes them a candidate to speak on it.
Yep.
I could attempt to maybe be qualified even in this setting to talk about Hot Wheels RC or Jurassic Matchbox, but everyone has something that they focus on, and whatever your focus is, you're probably qualified to talk about it, even if you don't think so. So like my one friend Brian, we made a video recently about his record collection. His focus is children's records, but he's got thousands and thousands of children's records. And in the video, we got to do that one in person. Steve got to go to his house and see his collection, and he literally got to show us stuff, which was cool because it wasn't in the virtual format like this. But he may not know it. Well, I think maybe he does, Brian. But his collection is absolutely worth showcasing and sharing. But whatever it is, I think that you focus on, you're probably qualified to speak on it, even if you don't think so. Whatever the focus is.
You know, I was going to say the same thing. I have to tell, I manage a team of insurance adjusters, and even when they're brand new to the role, I tell them, even if you're 1 or 2 weeks in, you're probably already the authority in the conversation. You probably know more than the other person involved. And it's the same with collectors. When you have collectors who have dedicated sometimes decades to a hobby, it's a real shame when they don't realize that is a real niche expertise in a certain part of the hobby. And you really ought to give yourself credit for the passion you've put into something and have confidence in talking about it. And I kind of love the vibe that you were just giving there a second. Like, give yourself a little bit of credit. If you've got a collection and you've put your heart into it, you're probably best to speak about it more than anybody else. I love what you just said there, Jereme. And I think it is incredible that your site gives people potentially a platform to share their collections.
I've said before that regardless of views or how successful a video is or a theme of videos, the ones I'm the most passionate about, the ones that I would make if there was no reward, would be those kinds of videos.
Yeah, I can see that. Again. Well, your cat agrees.
Maybe he just is dying.
Maybe he's got a collection he wants to tell you about.
Cat collected.
Collection of dead birds.
He has crashed a few of my videos before.
I will say I had a cat that I loved. He was a Maine Coon cat, and he knew that he could get me out of bed every morning by jumping up on my shelf, and he would bat a Hot Wheels car off the shelf, and then he'd look at me, and then he'd go up to the next one, and he'd bat the Hot Wheels car, and he'd look right at me as he knocked it off the shelf, and he was like, "Now what are you going to do about it?" So you've got the action figure channel, you got the diecast channel, you've also got it's a building channel too.
Build It,
I believe. Build It, right? So tell us about the other channel.
Yep, we love Lego too, and it had to have its own place. Steve is a huge Lego collector, and my sister, who is sometimes featured in our videos, she loves Lego, and her kids do. And my nephew Jonathan wants to be a YouTuber, or like most kids, they feel like that they could do that too. And to his credit, he did really great. But we made a few videos where he got to be the YouTuber. And since Lego is his thing, we have a place for that there too.
Can we just give Jereme a shout out for the correct form of the plural of Lego?
That's true.
It bothers me more than it should, but well done on that.
I didn't even realize I said it, so that's good. It's ingrained in me now.
Yes, you've learned their brand
on your heart.
Yeah. I just saw that you have one of 80s Lego, and I'm going to have to go back because I just had flashbacks because I saw the window shutters with the green window shutters. That was a favorite bit of mine growing up. And it's fun because, like you said, you got this other channel that's really successful, and then you got these smaller ones like there's only 321 subscribers on the Build It channel. People go over there and subscribe to that. Go check that out. And again, I had a feeling you had industry in you because your stuff looks so good and you've got good graphic design. So I was like, he's been trained in this. He knows what he's doing. So I game recognizes
strong
game
with this one
on that one.
I was going to compliment you guys because I watched your very first Diecast podcast, and the quality was great right from the very beginning. So I have a sneaky suspicion one of you guys knows what you're doing too.
Yeah, I majored in broadcasting in college and worked in the television industry for a couple of years, and now I do marketing and a lot of video content. So I created the video channel because I felt like my videos were getting rusty and needed something to build the muscle memory back. So and COVID seemed like a good time to start doing that again. So I started doing custom videos. Originally, I do weathered builds and stuff, and then I heard David and Mark. Mark was doing a podcast for a while, and I was like, these guys are good together. And Mark's got an idea here with talking about tiny cars, and he was doing it audio only. And I was like, well, it'd be really cool if you could like see what people are talking about. And again, I apologize to the people that are listening to this on the audio format. Thank you so much for listening. I don't know why you listen to us, that we could see the people, interact with them. They could show off their collections, things like that. And with that in mind, I want to turn the conversation back to Diecast and talk about the Jurassic Park line for a little bit, because we haven't really had somebody on here that is an expert on that. We've had Fireball, who worked on the original vehicles for the movie. He worked on, I think, specifically the Explorers from the 1993 movie. And that was really cool. But tell me a little bit about why you like the Jurassic Park lineup so much and what stands out to you about that series.
Well, I think it mostly starts with the fact that they did not do it in the 90s. Mm-hmm. So for The Lost World, there were Matchbox in 97-ish, and they had a couple play sets and they had some Matchbox, but those vehicles were different. So there was no Jeep, there was no Ford Explorer. So much of what made it exciting in 2018 was that for people our age, we never had them. Since 1993, it would have been fun to have had.
Yep.
So for the most part, that was the initial thing that made me really pick these up when I really wasn't that much of a die-cast collector. I collected all these other things, but I have obviously an interest in movies, and a big part of the die-cast that I do collect now is movie related. But I think it was mostly that. It was just the drought of not having it. And then once they put them out, the very first ones, I didn't recognize most of the other vehicles that were from Jurassic World. I recognized the throwback vehicles, the Legacy collection from Jurassic Park and the Lost World from the 90s. So I didn't necessarily even have a tremendous pull to pick those all up. After you see the movie, then you realize all those vehicles are in the movie. Mm-hmm. And then they followed suit with the next two Jurassic World movies. There's one or two that are kind of a fantasy car, but for the most part, the vehicles are actually in the movies. And that's kind of what makes me pull the trigger, is that it's not, I bought those two, but it's not the Jurassic Park monster truck with just an Indoraptor slapped on the side of it.
Right.
It's actually the vehicles from in the movie. That's what makes me excited or made me want to collect them.
Jereme, the people from Fast and Furious are online too. They would like to talk to you if you like cars from movies.
Yeah, they got a few of those. I thought it was interesting. You mentioned the slapping of Velociraptor on the side, because it was like at the same time they recently did another run of the Jurassic Park lines. Hot Wheels was doing Jurassic Park vehicles, but they were animal cars and really kind of goofy caricatures of things. I think that they did a T-Rex one that was kind of cool. I think I got the T-Rex one, but that was the thing that appealed to me too. And I'm curious. I'll tell you mine in a second. But which one is your favorite of the Matchbox line?
I brought one just in case.
Nice.
Let's see. Yeah.
So do you have this one? Do you have the crushed Explorer with the muddy?
You won. You read my mind. You got Explorer 4.
It's the coolest one. I made a video about it.
Nice.
And I brought the 5-pack that it came from as well.
Let's see it, folks.
That's going to be everyone's first question.
Yeah, how do you get it?
What's that from? How do I get it?
Yeah. Yes. And I think it's funny because the logo covers up that it's crushed, kind of like it's kind of hidden in there.
Land Action Squad.
Yeah.
What's the year?
They were
of that
super
one?
hard to find. Yeah.
When did that come out, Jeremy?
I think I got this one from a Canadian eBay seller. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I had to buy mine off eBay because I think they were part of the original. They were part of the original line, right? Like the 2019, 2019. Got it. So the thing that I love about that in particular is, first of all, I love damaged vehicles. I love the crack ups and stuff like that. Look at that. Yeah. It's so cool. So what's amazing about that one is licensing, because I can't think of any other licensed vehicle that Hot Wheels or Matchbox or anyone has done that is done damaged, because most brands will not allow you to show a version of their car damaged, because that's just bad publicity. Like you don't want people thinking of a damaged Dodge Challenger or a damaged Crown Victoria or whatever. So the fact that Matchbox did that, and they did it as a license for it, like it says Ford on the bottom. It's not just like they made something that looks kind of like an Explorer. It's a Ford Explorer. Like if you flash forward to like the monster truck line that Brendan Vituski did with the crushed cars, like he had to take sculpts of cars that he had done and then genericize them, because even as older vehicles, the companies wouldn't license, like he had to change the Impala and the Cutlass and the satellite wagon and stuff, because even though those cars are long out of production, those brands won't sign off on a damaged version of their vehicles. And I thought that was so cool that they were able to do that. So that's why that one in particular is a super favorite of mine, and I'm still looking out there. So folks, if you know of any other licensed vehicles that have been released on 1/64 scale damaged, like even like that thing recently on RLC where they did the collaboration with Mischief and had the beater Econobox car, like fantasy. That's not it's a fantasy vehicle, because nobody would want their vehicle to look like that.
Maybe Mini GT with the Bond vehicle that's all shot up.
Oh, that's true. Like the Aston Martin, the Hot Wheels did the Aston Martin with the bullet holes all in it, but I don't know if that counts because it's not really like dented or whatever. But it's that is a touche, sir. I will take your point on that one.
Comment below Chuck's question.
I'm thinking specifically of a casting that was sculpted to look damaged. Like that's like a decal that was added. I know that there have been cars that have been released before with like bullet hole type decals and stuff in them, but Johnny Lightning did a unlicensed version of the Punisher's GTO from the 2004 movie that had a couple of bullet hole decals on the side, but it was based on a generic GTO sculpt. That's one of the ones that I want to get on my, that's one of my grail pieces that I'm trying to find, is this older Johnny Lightning series that they did kind of like what Greenlight did with the Dukes of Hazzard, where they didn't really have the licensing for it, but they just made, this is a Dodge Monaco that happens to look exactly like, I still don't know how they did it because it says Hazard County on the side of them, but they've done it and somehow skirted the issue.
Yeah. Hazard, Montana.
Montana, exactly. So I guess there's some kind of thing where they could get away with creating exact copies of every vehicle except the General Lee. And we won't see one of those again anytime soon. Which is unfortunate because it's made the old ones very, very expensive. But yeah. So all right, where were we? So Jurassic Park. We're talking about Jurassic Park. So you mentioned specifically like the 5 cars have gone with the 4 cars and a dinosaur. Like, what's your take on that? Like, because I know you have some opinions about the dinosaur figures.
Well, it was interesting to explore it, and I definitely was kind of captivated by the idea that they were the same dinosaurs, or nearly the same dinosaurs that Mattel released separate of Matchbox. They do advent calendars for Jurassic World, where each day you open up a little plastic dinosaur, and it's essentially the same ones that they put in the Matchbox 5-packs. Mm-hmm. So I definitely thought that was interesting, and I don't mind having a few in my collection. I actually have most of my Jurassic Matchbox on display on shelves, and I have those Dino minifigures with them because they're part of the loose collection. I have almost all of the Jurassic Matchbox from 2018 on loose and in the package. Mm-hmm. So I have them displayed with the dinos because they were part of the package. They were loose. It's part of my Matchbox collection. But I'm not super stoked on it. Once you have a few, you kind of have enough, and I don't really need to have like a whole bag full of mini dinos. But you do kind of want one of each. I definitely had fun trying to track down a T-Rex, but because I guess they must not have put a T-Rex in a 5-pack yet. But maybe that's something they can do next year. I know there is a Jurassic Park 5-pack on the way soon.
Hey, Jereme, 20 years in the future, it's a dystopian landscape. It's awful. The government says you can only collect one type of collectible: diecast, Lego, action figures. What are you picking?
It's autographed Pirate baseball cards.
Okay. Boom. Wild card. Literally. Pun intended.
The fourth channel has been born.
Or fifth or sixth.
Yeah,
I am so tempted to make a video game related.
Yeah.
Retro games. I have my retro TV behind me. So I've stopped myself from that. I really want to do baseball cards. I've stopped myself from that so far. But I think,
that's a wild hobby right now, isn't it?
Yeah, and largely, I think maybe why I picked that is because it's more personal. Like Pirates, I guess, as a team, most of the players, except for Paul Skeens right now, aren't particularly sought after by everyone else. So it's more just for me. And maybe that's kind of why I threw that one out there, is those are the things I've collected that are like only for me. It's not something that I'm showcasing. So they're personal, I guess.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. And it's cool just to get to know you like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons why we have this show, is so that we can get to know the stories behind people. Because I always am fascinated by the faces behind the content that we all enjoy. And that's one of the reasons why this podcast exists, because I know that some people have a lot of differing interests that are tangentially related. For example, did you know that Mike Zarnock actually has a pretty large M2 collection? Don't tell Hot Wheels. But he has a pretty large M2 collection because he likes their transport series. So he has a bunch of the transport vehicles. That's a fun fact. Hopefully he won't mind me sharing
It's a fact.
But it is a fact. It is a pretty good. I do like their transporters. They are pretty cool. But so Jereme, as we're kind of wrapping things up here, like, what is your advice that you like to give to collectors? If you could set somebody aside who's saying, "Hey, I'm thinking of collecting diecast," what would be your tips or your recommendations to them?
It's tough because there would be so many, right? I think I'll make the question a little bit narrower, maybe to be easier. If someone said they were just getting into collecting diecast or Hot Wheels, I would do this. I would give them the stereotypical advice, like what you like and that. But I would probably go as far as saying, don't fall down this super treasure hunt hype stuff. That's kind of what's shared a lot, and you're going to get discouraged. It's not fun. And I haven't resisted being that type of person that tries to open cases. I don't like that, but I can see how it's fostering negativity in diecast collecting. So my tip would be, don't even worry about supers. If you really want them, buy one on eBay. It's fine. Don't feel like you have to go to the store when they open, find out the day they arrive, and open sealed cases or get to know workers at stores. Like, don't do any of that. Like, it's not cool. That's my advice. That's not positive, but that's my advice. Don't worry about that stuff.
I gotta say, I agree with you anymore. I live in Gainesville, Florida, and population of about 100,000 people. It's a lower mid-size city. It's definitely not Pittsburgh by any stretch, but we have like 3 Walmarts and 1 Target. And there is a group of 6 guys thereabouts that go to all 3 stores every single day, regardless of what's happening, and look for the supers. So I'm never going to find a super. I found one Zamac the other day. I found the Mustang Funny Car Zamac, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But you know, unless you just happen to be there right as they're putting it out, and even then now the people that work at the stores, they know because we're bugging them all the time or raiding their pallets. So now the employees know that they should raid the store pallets before they even go out sometimes. And again, if you're a collector and you happen to work at Walmart, then God love you. If that makes it more bearable to work at Walmart, then go for it. But if you're really going to put in the effort, if you're going to put in the time it takes to find a super, you're better off just buying it on eBay, because you're just going to spend so much time and so much money on gas and the hunt. I think it's safe to say the hunt is over for the most part, for most collectors, unless you're buying the cases and having them sent to your house to dig through. And I feel like that's like stocking your own lake or something like that. And then when you do that, that's great, because then you can donate all the cars you don't want to Diecast Day of Giving. And so in that case, I do say buy the cases, because then you can donate the cars you don't want. But you know, the ability to find a chase in the wild is so rare now, and it doesn't help that there's like social media posts. Like we've got like the Hot Wheels Facebook group that has like 1 million people in it, and every day you're seeing like posts of, oh, I found 5 chases, or I found 2 supers, or whatever, and you're going, okay, well, that's one of like 20 million Hot Wheels collectors today found that super, and the rest of us didn't. It does happen. It absolutely happens. But if you really need the thrill of the hunt, then I guess go with God on that one. But if you're collecting them just because you like supers, you're much better off just buying them from a collector, or there are diecast retailers that specialize in selling chases that you can look up specifically, and they'll sell them, and they're priced at market price, and that's what it is. And if you don't like the price of that, then guess what? Mini GTs are much cheaper than some of these super treasure hunts are, and they're fantastic. Or you can get a Tarmac Works, or you can get a Tamika Limited Vintage, and check out some of the other fun stuff. Because if you want to sink the money in it, you can do that, because I get it. It ain't the same without the flame, as some people say. Some people it's Hot Wheels because it speaks to a very specific bit of nostalgia that they have. Or Matchbox, the same way. It's a nostalgia. It's a feeling of these are the brands I grew up with. So I get that. But you know, you also got to understand that if you want the special cars, there's work or there's money. There's no in between. But anyway, I think that's really good advice, and I would recommend people do the same, and they should do that while they're liking and subscribing to Common Collected, all the channels, 3 channels. All 3 of them. As of recording, there are 3. There might be 6 or 7 by the time this episode airs at the end of the week. But again, before we sign off here, Jereme, let's tell the folks how they can find you, follow you, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the easiest thing would be Common Collected, COM. My gosh, I don't think we ever mentioned that. COM.
Oh, yeah.
And Collected. But if you search for Hot Wheels RC, I'm likely to be one of the top results. So, if not the top.
Where did that name come from, by the way? I'm curious.
I think Steve came up with it, and I think at the time we were thinking about the variety of things we're interested in, and kind of fitting in the umbrella of like what you'd see like at a toy show, like a convention. And so there was a little bit of a comic book interest there too, and I think being calm, CALM, and Collected does describe us pretty well. In fact, our first couple of videos, which are not even public anymore, we are so horribly boring that we really had to like amp it up. So we're still calm, but we're not as calm as the very first couple of videos we made.
Well, yeah, I think unless you're Bob Ross, you really can't get away. People, that's another piece of advice that I like to give to people that are looking to start a YouTube channel is you've got to amp it up. Even if you're trying to do low key stuff like we do, you just have to, your normal speaking voice. I don't know how this happens, but when you record yourself, normal talking voice just gets really, just start rambling and it's just quiet and people.
And then
just,
your ASMR videos.
Exactly. And you've got to put a little oomph behind it because the camera adds 10 pounds and takes away 10 levels of charisma. So you got to give yourself a little bit of a extra something to help stand out. And a lot of people take it too far. That's why we had so many of those shouting TV commercials in the 80s and 90s, because everybody thought, oh, well, excited means loud. And it doesn't have to be loud. It just has to mean, okay, well, you gotta speak from your chest a little bit more, and you gotta project some because the microphone is not as good as the human ear, and you gotta compensate for that. So, and I think you guys do a great job at that. And again, I said this off camera, but I get a real Rhett and Link feeling almost from you guys. And I mean that as a sincere compliment. I think those guys are really good. And I like that you guys have got this cool kind of dynamic back and forth, and you've got the banter, and it's a very inspirational thing to us. I'm getting some ideas from your stuff, and I think we'll be, as our channel grows and we get a little bit more bandwidth on my side, we can do stuff. And I'd love to do some collabs with you guys at some point, because I think that would be a lot of fun if we can swing it. I know we're all very busy. I don't know why, but I know we're all very busy. But if you're willing to, that would be something. We like doing collabs with other channels and creators. So we think you're doing a great job, and we're excited to see what's ahead for you as you guys go from 20,000 subscribers to 200,000 subscribers.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Jereme, for being here. And thank you, viewers, listeners, wherever you are, for making it to the end of another episode of Diecast Breakdown. If you've gotten this far, leave a comment and let us know that you made it to the end, because it's always nice to know who the end crew is. We got a few of them who leave their comments, and we really appreciate it. And while you're leaving nice comments, make sure you're doing that little like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, especially the share. If you like what we do, share it with your friends. It really helps grow the show. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're listening to us, we add a couple extra cars to the donation pile for Diecast Day of Giving every time we get a review. We do more than that, which is a good thing, because otherwise we wouldn't give any cars to Diecast Day of Giving. But again, check that out, drivendreams.org. It's a really cool cause. October 12th is coming up real fast, so help us get there. Again, shout out to our patrons who make the show go. If you want to join their ranks, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com. Or you can just listen along with the next episode. It's free. It's fun. We love having you here. Thanks for coming. And as always, we want to thank you for coming along with us for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags.
Thanks for listening to Diecast Breakdown. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend to listen in. Find Diecast Breakdown on your favorite social media platforms, or visit diecastmedianetwork.com to learn more about this and our other projects. Diecast Breakdown is a presentation of Flying Valiant and the Diecast Media Network.